What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Joseph Parker was asked who hits harder, Anthony Joshua or Dillian Whyte, as we seen Joseph Parker face off against both fighters, and obviously Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua already fought. This reason for this is due to the fact that there's been widespread rumors that Anthony Joshua could possibly face Dillian Whyte. As those rumors have been squashed, that's all come to an end. We know that Anthony Joshua will be facing Jarrell Big Baby Miller June 1st in Madison Square Garden in New York. But it was widely regarded that we would see Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte, the rematch, April 13th at Wembley Stadium, 2019. But that fell through. That didn't come to fruition, as Dillian Whyte stated that they wasn't being fair in negotiations. With that said, we saw Dillian Whyte in a action-packed fight of the year type of fight with Joseph Parker, and we saw Anthony Joshua win a unanimous decision victory over Joseph Parker, but in a dud, right? Nonetheless, he got the victory, but it was a dud, right? It was a very boring fight, where Dillian Whyte was in an action-packed fight with Joseph Parker. It's been rumored that Anthony Joshua was going to face Dillian Whyte in a rematch for quite some time, since probably about September, right? We know that they have a feud, ongoing feud since their days in the amateurs, okay? And they fought back in 2015 at the O2 Arena, and that saw Anthony Joshua be victorious via 7th round knockout. Now, with that said, Joseph Parker obviously had more encounters with Dillian Whyte than he did with Anthony Joshua, because both fighters looked reluctant to trade, right? He couldn't do such a thing with Dillian Whyte. He wasn't awarded that situation because Dillian Whyte put a lot of pressure. Styles make fights, and it's different fights. So with that said, they traded a lot. Joseph Parker was dropped by Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte was hurt in the 12th round, almost got knocked out in the 12th round. At the last seconds, he was actually saved by the bell. But it was an action-packed fight from start to end, from beginning to end, right? And so with that, Joseph Parker states that, Dillian Whyte obviously hits harder. He said Anthony Joshua never landed anything of significance on him. That's a testament to Joseph Parker, right? Dillian Whyte was able to cut the ring off and land on Joseph Parker, where Anthony Joshua wasn't able to do so, right? And so Joseph Parker favors Dillian Whyte, says that he hits much harder now. He's a much better fighter than he was when they first fought back in 2015. We saw Dillian Whyte actually, excuse me. We saw Dillian Whyte actually buzz Anthony Joshua in that first fight. He just wasn't able to close the show, and then Anthony Joshua obviously came back with a vengeance and knocked Dillian Whyte out in the 7th round. With that said, they're both much shorter fighters than Anthony Joshua, who stands about 6'6". I think Dillian Whyte and Joseph Parker are probably both about 6'3", 6'4". So they're the smaller guy. But with that said, Dillian Whyte, I think, has a learning, he's learned from his mistakes with the first fight with Anthony Joshua. Since the loss to Anthony Joshua, he's been on a 9-fight win streak and been able to string 9-fight wins, together. He was able to string together a streak of 9 fights, since that fight. And he's been clamoring for the rematch, to get back, to capitalize on the mistakes that he made. And now, since then, Anthony Joshua is a unified heavyweight champion, so it's much bigger. But with that said, Joseph Parker is favoring Dillian Whyte, says he hits much harder. He's just favoring him as a boxer at this point in time. Says that he believes Dillian Whyte knocks out Anthony Joshua in the rematch. Me personally, I haven't been in the ring with either. I'm not a professional boxer, but me personally, I beg to differ. I think that styles make fights, and I think that Anthony Joshua will still come out on top, because Dillian Whyte still gets hit. A la Derek Chisora fight, Derek Chisora was landing punches that Dillian Whyte didn't see, but Dillian Whyte is a hell of a counter puncher, right? And but the thing is, styles make fights. Anthony Joshua's size is going to come into play when you're talking about his counter punch, because Anthony Joshua is awarded the the comfortability of fighting Dillian Whyte on the outside. He doesn't have to trade with him on the inside to get to Dillian Whyte. That's a lot of the difference between Derek Chisora and Joseph Parker. Because of their size, they had to, you know, they're equal in size to Dillian Whyte, so they had to get on the inside. They didn't have any advantages, you know. Where Anthony Joshua has the comfortability, you know, of having an advantage. He has the height advantage, he has the reach advantage, and things of that nature. So he could touch Dillian Whyte with power from the outside. So I agree to disagree with Joseph Parker, but you know, I haven't been in the ring, and he states that his power being the difference, and I agree with the power situation, because we've seen Dillian Whyte land on Anthony Joshua, and it buzzed Anthony Joshua. He just wasn't able to capitalize. But it's interesting if this fight does come to fruition. It's looking like Dillian Whyte is going to be facing Dominic Brazil in sometime April. The target date is April 20th. Where and Anthony Joshua is scheduled to fight Jarrell Big Baby Miller in June. Not to mention Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury rematch will be May 18th. And with that said, everybody's going to be clamoring for, should Anthony Joshua come out victorious versus Jarrell Miller, and should Deontay Wilder come out victorious against Tyson Fury, everybody's going to be clamoring for that undisputed fight. So that fight with Dillian Whyte may be put on hold for quite some time, and he may never get the chance, you know, and maybe not in 2019, maybe in 2020. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Let me know what y'all think. Do you agree with Joseph Parker, with Dillian Whyte knocked Anthony Joshua out in the rematch? Let me know what y'all think, man. It's all I got for y'all. It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Road. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.